eventually people are going to say, what the hell is going on?
No matter how far you go into the dark, when you flip, you go exactly the same place to the light in our galaxy. Everything. Because everything is in balance. Everything is a polarity.
I think it's just going to get weirder and weirder and weirder, and finally it's going to be so weird that people are going to have to talk about how weird it is.
What the hell is going on, everybody? Happy Friday. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Polarity. My name is Josh. If you're new here, we're doing something a little bit different. Well, it's kind of different. We're going to be hanging out a little bit more, okay? So we've got a few clips to look at. We've got some weird shit to talk about that you can probably tell from the title and the thumbnail. But I want this show to be a more interactive show. I want to go back and forth with you guys and actually hang out and chat, because that is the beauty of a live stream, right? So Darren from Bristol, whoever the fuck you are in my comments, who keeps getting upset that I like to talk to the chat, this is not the show for you. Click on something else, Darren. So we're going to be hanging out tonight. We're going to be talking about Epstein, reptiles, because apparently they may be the same thing. Just saying, based on what we've been looking at, based on other people's testimony, they may be the same thing. And also secret space programs, which is obviously what we've been diving into the last couple of days. It's been a lot of fun. And I've found another clip. So I've found this is why I find this stuff so interesting, right? Is because I've found another clip on X, a couple of clips actually that we're going to be looking at, that is another secret space program survivor that I've never heard of. Never heard of him. And he's saying so much of the same similar stuff. And I just find it so interesting because these guys aren't platformed. We don't know who, like, they're compared to the main people that are on all the podcast circuits, they're not platformed. But they're all saying really wild shit about like moon bases and Nazis and secret space programs and reptiles. And it's just like, what the actual hell is going on here? Because trust me, these people aren't making money from this stuff. They, if anything, are just getting laughed at by the most part, not by us, because we're more open-minded than that. But like I said yesterday, it's weird, right? Because these things could be happening in another dimension, in a different reality than the one we all experience here in 3D. So I'm looking forward to tucking into a little bit of that. I'm just going to have a look who we got here. By the way, can we get some loves in the chat for our latest weirdo, Mr. Moldy Potions? Welcome to the club, sir. And a whole bunch of you guys were in here before we started. Lucy, Rambro, Christina, Peter, AG, Tamara, Heather, Rob, Chris, Dan, Coley Ray, Cat Simpson, Debatable Facts, Bleak, I Know Who Killed You, quite an ominous name, but okay. Olympus Tape, Erlen, Hubert, Mish. All right, I think that's everyone. Let's get into today's show, guys. I hope you're all having a good Friday too. I know in Australia, you guys are probably hanging out. It's Friday night here, but on the other side of the world, some of you guys might be getting ready for work or at work. So hopefully this will make your work day just a little bit better. So it's interesting, right? I don't know if anyone of you guys have seen that the Jesse Michaels podcast that just came out with Jay Anderson and Kurt Metzger is absolute fire. It's 3 hours. I listened to the whole thing today, and you should too. And not only is it just a great podcast, I think, but like the topics are so good, and you know, in maybe a weird synchronicity that like a lot of the stuff that they're talking about are stuff that we've been talking about in the last couple of days. And that seems to happen a lot, that I've noticed, that like people in this space seem to kind of converge on the same topics at like a really similar time. And I actually think there's something to that. I don't think anyone's copying each other at all. Yeah, that's right. Jordan Peterson was talking to Gary Nolan today, and Gary Nolan was on Jordan Peterson's podcast talking about how there is potentially another intelligence that's been here and has always been here interacting with us. Which, again, on that topic, I've had in my mess of a planner a video in the works that I've been wanting to make for about a week or so, probably 2 weeks now, actually, about the fact that I think a non-human intelligence lives under the ground on this planet. And I've been wanting to, it's a deep dive concept that I want to do. And we're going to go on Google Earth. We're going to look at a whole bunch of things and, look at a few clips. And I'm going to tell you why I think that. And then, today you got Gary Nolan on Jordan Peterson basically saying that outright. So I'll probably put that clip in the show now. And you also had Jay Anderson on Jesse Michaels' podcast talking about the clip about the Native Americans, talking about the Munkawabu, or however you say it. That was a clip that I had prepared for the show too. You know what I mean? It's all happening. And also, there seems to be like an uptick in the amount of like Nordic / reptilian talk at the moment. From even like outlets like Ross Coulthart and the mainstream of ufology, which is interesting because it's like, oh, I just realized we still got the After Dark logo on here. We're not After Dark anymore. That was a members video that dropped today. It was pretty fun. We looked at the Polarity merch that might be coming as well. Go and check that out if you're a member and you haven't already. It's a good video. $10 from Aaron. Didn't leave a note, but shout out to Aaron. Thank you for the support, my man. Appreciate you. So yeah, sort of lost myself a bit there, but it seems like there's a lot going on at the moment. I mean, I was actually thinking, right? We've heard about these, the tall whites in Congress, Eric Burleson and all that. We're hearing a lot about, Nordics and stuff like that. Oh my gosh. 20 gifted memberships from my man, Para Abnormal. That's, I think, one of the biggest membership gifts we've ever had here in the community. And that is why I think, look, I've been an internet kid all my life. I've been around different creators, different communities. You guys are actually unreal with like the generosity and the love in the chat. It's awesome. So guys, if you just got one of the 20 memberships from Para Abnormal, make sure you say thank you. And can we get a whole bunch of love hearts in the chat for all of the 20 new members? If you are one of them, you get access to all the Polarity emojis. You get access to Polarity members videos, which a new one went up today after dark. And you get access to the members only members only section of our Discord. So go and check it out. You've just opened Pandora's box. You got a whole new world waiting for you. So, as I was saying, there's a lot of talk about different species at the moment, and I think it's like what it gets me thinking about is like, is this the next step? Because I've said for a long time, since 2017, since the To the Stars thing came out, which they talked about on Jesse Michaels' show today, it's a super interesting thing that happened there. Tom DeLonge was the conduit to bring all these CIA guys onto the scene. So who knows? But it seems like that was the beginning of a plan, of some kind of rollout. And, we have to stay open to the fact that that rollout could be a positive one. Like, let's try and stay open to the fact that the CIA might be doing something positive, maybe, perhaps, probably not, but who knows? It could be a genuine disclosure campaign. Let's stay open to that fact. Stay positive, but probably not. It seems like, because, when Lou Elizondo came out in 2017, he was saying, like, there are these aerial threats, and we don't know what they are. And he had left the government, so we're told at that point, right? But you fast forward to a few years ago, he still doesn't work for the government. You would assume he still hasn't gained any further knowledge because he's left and he's now pushing for disclosure. But like 6 years after the fact, he's telling us that Lockheed Martin have a reverse engineered UFO and we have biologics. So why didn't you say that in 2017, bro? Because you would have known, right? That's when you left the government. So that's why I think what it actually is like maybe a 10-year rollout plan of information to slowly desensitize and drip feed things a little bit at a time so people don't get overwhelmed, because there are people who haven't been researching this subject autistically for 20 years, like most of us, and still think that aliens are like little green men from Mars. People still think that. So I understand the need for like a slow drip disclosure if it's going to go out to the masses, for sure. So what I'm feeling like with the little uptick that I'm feeling with this, a lot of talk about reptilians, a lot of talk about Nordics and shit going on at the moment. Is this like the next phase of the plan? Is this final phase? Like, is this final phase? Reptilians, Nazis, and secret space programs that have existed since World War II. because it's kind of feeling like it right now. And I'm here for it. I'm here for every bit of it. Para Abnormal with it also. On top of the 20 gifted, he's chucked in $20 and says, I want to grow you, Josh. Love your content, delivery, and chat interactions repping Florida. Thank you, my man. You're definitely helping with that huge contribution. I really, really appreciate it. Shout out to you, man. That's massive. Thank you so much. And $5 from Bleak. Soon the whole viewer base will be members at this rate. I think so. I think so. The generosity from you guys, like I said, unreal community, honestly. Like, I feel like most of my viewers are just members now due to that. Josh, have you read about Lacerda? Brody, I've got about 3 hours of Australian man attempts to read broken English on this channel. Yep, I read the whole thing. It's mildly entertaining because it's quite a struggle to read. But, yep, we've been there. We've been down that road. It's a 2-part series. And going back to what I said before about people in this space seeming to converge on the same topics at the same time, me and Area 52, Chris Ramsey, literally, well, I mean, if we're being technical, I actually dropped my first episode a couple of days before he did, but that's okay. No, we literally put out our Lacerda Files videos basically at the same time. And that was like the first example of that happening. And it happened again with him. I had been talking with one of my viewers for weeks about putting together a show on the Matilda McElroy alien interview, right? I'd been talking about it for ages, and I was slowly putting the show together, and then Chris dropped his. And I was like, my God, what is going on here? But I wasn't really happy with what I was putting together, and I was just like, you know what? Take it, my man. You do great work, all yours. And I didn't bother putting it out because I wasn't too happy with it. But you know what I think that is you know I'm a little bit esoteric sometimes, especially on a Friday night. And I think we're tapping into the same channel. That's actually what I think. I think inspiration and creativity is like a channel, a muse, and I think we're tapping into the same one or something like that. I think it's definitely something like that. I don't think anyone's copying each other at all. He's definitely not copying me, and I'm not copying him. So it's interesting, right? It's very, very interesting. Area 52 is top tier. I've always said that. What I love about Chris is his attention to detail with the little things. And I think the little things, lots of attention to detail on the little things is what makes amazing big things. And that's what we have on his channel. An amazing, awesome, and like visually pleasing channel, which I think is awesome. I try to do the same on here. I'm probably not quite at his level, but you know, I think a little bit of eye candy, visually pleasing setup and lighting makes a big difference. There's a famous alien abduction in the Dandenong Ranges. Is there really? I would love to hear more about that. Send it my way. Still on the fence with that dude? You're referring to Chris? I don't know what you'd be on the fence about Chris about. I mean, he's a magician. Saint77 says Chris is a magician and a plant. Well, I mean, I feel like you're not a creator in this space unless someone thinks you're a plant. That's how you know you've made it. I've been called a plant. That's when I knew I made it. It was around 7,000 subscribers. I think I got my first accusation of being in the CIA. The Dandenong Ranges is known for its famous alien abduction case, the 1993 incident involving Kelly Cahill. Oh, right. Here we are again, because I have a show on the Kelly Cahill abduction planned. I just didn't know it was in the Dandenong Ranges. Well, I guess I didn't know where the Dandenong Ranges were, because I know where that abduction took place. It's just on the edge of South Australia where I live. But very interesting. I think the Dandenong Ranges must cross over South Australia and West Australia then, because it's in that area. Wow, no way, you're not a plant. I would agree. I would agree with that. But, you know, it's fun to play. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm on Lou Elizondo's payroll. You'll never know. What are the chances we can take a look at the Skinny Bob footage? Would love you. Okay. Is there actually something to this, or do I just have every idea in my head, and when someone says it, I think that I was already planning it? Because this is another thing I have written in my notes to do a video on. Maybe I just have lots of ideas, and that's just bound to happen. But yes, I've been looking to look at the Skinny Bob footage, and I know other people have done that in the last couple of days. I can give you guys my opinion on it, and I will. But there is a guy who may even be watching this stream. He's part of our community, and he's kind of in the greater UFO community. His name's Cargo Cultish, so shout out Cargo if you're watching. He hangs out in our Discord quite a bit. I was actually thinking of reaching out to him or you if you're watching, and seeing if you wanted to maybe do some kind of analysis on that with me, because I think I've got experience in visual effects, but you have experience in 3D, in specifically like 3D animation. And I think if that footage is fake, that's what we're looking at. And it'd be cool to get someone who's maybe a little more on the money than I am with that kind of stuff. But we'd probably have a cool conversation about it as well, because, you know, I've used Maya, I've used Blender, and I do understand it. I'm just not very good at it. You should start teaching people about UFO hunting with AI. I try to teach everyone. Ooh, mate, I don't know about that. I don't trust AI. I don't trust AI. Not for stuff like that anyway. AI is a fantastic research tool. In fact, it's a brilliant research tool, but I don't trust AI on anything to do with like UFOs, anything to do with like aliens, because it's trained on a set of data that probably tells it that shit is a conspiracy theory. So what good is it? Yeah, I don't know about that. And also, I think in my last After Dark episode, so the one before the one that went up today, I did a little deep dive on AI and my interactions with it, and that thing, it tells you what you want to hear. It tells you, it learns about you, and it tells you what it thinks you want to hear. 100%. It's like it's flirting with you. It's like it's literally gets to know you, and then it kind of like says things that it knows will get you kind of like, oh yeah, come on, I want to keep prompting. I want to keep prompting. It's like it's designed to keep you hooked in. I'm not about that life. Josh, you should pull up Grok and let's test it. I've actually thought about that. That is a fun idea for a stream where we could just play with AI and, you know, see what we can come up with. But maybe not today, because we do have a bit to get into, and we should probably start because we've been chatting for a while. AI is Black Mirror. Yeah, I mean, what a show. Fantastic show. You know, what do you guys think? What do you guys think about like Simpsons predictions, right? Do you guys think the Simpsons just happen to predict things and it's like, ooh, what a coincidence? Or that would be coincidence number 4,761, if it is. But if it's not a coincidence, do you guys think that there is something, and this is what I lean into. I think there's something about creating art or ideas and concepts, putting them out to the masses, and then it's somehow manifesting. Through putting it into people's minds, it seems to like manifest. That makes more sense to me. Simpsons are definitely CIA. Dude, Homer is absolutely a plant. The whole fat and lazy thing is just a cover, bro. Matt Groening is a time traveler. I can get around that. I've actually heard from sources that when they recovered the Magenta craft, Matt Groening was inside. I can't tell you where I heard that, but I definitely did. And it may have been from someone who starts with S and rhymes with Dookie. But I'm not revealing my sources. Hello from Perth. James, shout out. Was it Ross? I can't say. I can't say. It was a hairy female. All I'll say is it was a hairy female that rhymes with Dookie. And I'm not sure that she can be trusted. I think the writer of The Simpsons channeled some future events. Yeah, interesting. I don't know about time, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's an interesting one. I mean, they're certainly doing something. There's way too many. I mean, the big one for me, I do have the clip, but I won't pull it up. The big one for me is the Donald Trump going down the escalator. That shit is wild because that isn't just like an idea. Like, I think one of the famous Simpsons ones is like, you know, they have like the Twin Towers on the book and it says 9 cents on the 11. I don't know. There's like 9/11 on the book. That one's like, oh yeah, maybe kind of weird. But the Donald Trump going down the escalator is like another level. Like the composition of the shot is exactly the same as the camera. He like turns the same. He waves the same. There's a kid holding up a sign and they drop the sign in real life and the sign falls down in the show. And the show obviously came out like years before this happened. Like, that is insane. Completely insane. Simpsons is more of this morphogenic field stuff, like how Josh is always on the same page as Area 52. Simpsons was deeply connected to the human consciousness for like 20 years. Damn. I think you're onto something. I think Grand Maester Moldy, the potion master, I think he's onto something. Because the Simpsons, especially I would say in that era where they were like knocking predictions out the park, the Simpsons were like a household, well, they're still a household name, but you know what I mean? It was like primetime viewing. Everyone watched The Simpsons. Everyone quoted The Simpsons. Everyone knew The Simpsons. Like, it's like everyone was like hooked in to what they were doing and they were hooked into everyone. I think there's something to that. That's what I think is the answer lies in there somewhere. It's the hive mind. Yep. Yeah, and it's, you know, we're really going to get into all this stuff today, and we really should. $2 from Maggie M10. Shout out to Maggie. Thank you for the $2. Appreciate you. Was Marge Simpson a tall yellow? She might have been. Hey, how about that that episode like where Homer comes in and like pulls the masks off the, you know, the two political parties? I've shown that clip on the channel before. And they're both aliens. That's these guys. They're these guys wearing the masks. What are their names? Like Kang and something else. This is one of my favorites bits of art, by the way. You've got Mr. Burns up there when he comes out of the woods like an alien going like, I bring you love. And then you've got the two aliens. And then you've got Aliens Exist underneath. It's like a Blink-182 alien collab. Prized possession. Just found it on Instagram one day and had to impulse purchase. Radioactive Burns is the best, though. He 100% is. He 100% is. What about the Egyptian sarcophagus that looks like Marge Simpson? Oh, God, don't tell me. Don't tell me. The 2026 revelation that Chris Bledsoe has spoken about when the Star of Regulus aligns with the Sphinx, that new knowledge that we're going to get is that Marge Simpson is actually Aphrodite. I think that's what it might be. He's my rave spirit animal. I respect that. Mine too. All right, let's actually get into the show now. So, we're going to look at a little, I think the first clip we'll look at is just a little minute clip I took from the Jesse Michaels show today, because obviously we've been talking about, you know, Epstein, secret space programs and mind control and like, you know, weird shit going on between potentially the Nazis and the Jews and whatever else. So let's take a look at this clip and then we'll talk about it.
We brought Nazis here with big fucking scars down their face to run NASA, which had the Space Kids camp. I wonder what went on there. And we had them run it to some reason, beat the Soviets to the moon.
Wait, NASA
get to the moon and destroy the ship.
NASA had a Space Kids camp?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, like I was saying, like you can look it up now. It's like kind of general knowledge. They had like Space Kids and like the Star Kids, I think it was called, or something like that. And
I know about Puharich or whatever, but did NASA have
yeah.
official...
NASA had something like a gifted children's thing, but I think that it's kind of like, you know, there's a mainstream acknowledgement of that, and then the surface layer of that is people saying, yeah, and while we were there, they were teaching us remote viewing. That's kind of like the thing that's not necessarily discussed publicly, but was part of that program.
Yeah, wow.
Absolutely. Nonsense.
Yeah, man.
No, I don't remember doing anything like that. Maybe I didn't pass and nothing happened, but I just don't remember.
Well, Werner von Braun apparently encouraged also Edgar Mitchell to go up and do this sort of parapsychology, like pick this card sort of.
So what by the way, Kurt Metzger, what an absolute legend. He was getting roasted in the comments of the video, but like, I thought he added so much value. I mean, you guys know I enjoy humor, right? I try and put humor in my shows because I think it's important. I think it's valuable. And I think Jesse Michaels does an amazing show, and he's just a fountain of knowledge, well-researched, and I love his content. But for me, Kurt brought like the element that I love as well. Like that contrast of just like having fun, having a laugh, but also dropping like some absolute knowledge bombs at the same time. If you haven't watched the podcast, make sure you do, because that clip is kind of like, it's 3 hours of that clip. It's fantastic. $10 from Brad Hillman says, happy to be a new member. Brad, I'm happy that you're here. I'm happy you're getting to experience the member's life. Thanks for being here, brother. So what Kurt is saying in that clip is that he was apparently part of the GATE program, which, if you don't know, is the Gifted and Talented Education, which is kind of like this thing that doesn't actually seem to be just an American phenomenon. I think it happened here in Australia too. I mean, I've seen videos of people talking about things that even made me go like, wait, like I kind of remember something like that. But, you know, I don't really have much more to say about my own experience other than that. But Gifted and Talented is basically like a program that would go around the education systems around the world to kind of identify and pluck children who displayed like probably high levels of intellect, and which was then studied further to what sounds like try and see if they had any extra abilities, extra sensory perception type stuff. Okay, psychic children. I think it's pretty well known now that like Stranger Things is based on a real story. It's based on the Montauk Project. I'm pretty sure that's the right one. But it's basically, and obviously I don't know, I'm just speculating here, but I think it seems like these gifted and talented education programs, the further down the channel you would get, that, you know, if you were like one of the ones that were like super gifted and talented, you would maybe end up in the Montauk Project, like 11 from Stranger Things. And, you know, if you're hearing me say that and going like, this idiot thinks Stranger Things is a real story, look it up. It's literally based on a real thing. It's not a conspiracy theory, because that would be crazy, because conspiracy theories are never right. I reckon they did that to us in the 90s in Melbourne. Yeah, I mean, I'm from Adelaide and I grew up in the 90s too. I'm not going to say I remember it, but I feel like I do remember doing like weird tests that weren't like part of the school curriculum, or like, but like during school time, but like you get pulled aside to do it. But, you know, I definitely didn't go further than that. I'm not 11. But I think I do remember strange things like that. The pink drink stuff. Yeah, that's the one that is the one that rings the bell for me. Getting asked to drink a little pink liquid or something like that. When I heard that person giving their testimony, I was like, what the hell? I think I remember that. First, I was gifted and talented enough to get the weird pink drink. Okay, so this is interesting. And I got out of math class, but I don't think I passed their bar for being an X-Men. I don't think I passed the X-Men test either. But okay, so that was my man Moldy Potions saying that. And he is based in the North American continent, I'm pretty sure. We've also got Build on Sound, who I know is based in the European continent, saying he remembers the pink drink. And you've got myself and others who I know are here in the chat, who are from Australia, who remember the pink drink. What the hell was that? I remember the pink Kool-Aid. Is this where Drink the Kool-Aid comes from? That was the polio vaccine, wasn't it? Maybe. Maybe. So, I wanted to kind of go into this, but I don't know if it's... I don't really know where to go with it. I wanted to talk about the fact... Yeah, I don't really know where to go with it. Maybe maybe we'll get into it when we go a bit more into the secret space program stuff. But I think what we might look at next is this video that came... This only came out like a couple of hours ago. You guys have probably heard that, or maybe you haven't, because it's like super breaking, that the Wall Street Journal, I think, have just published an article, like a hit piece, on Donald Trump trying to tie him to Epstein on like a very personal, weird sexual level. Not them two. I mean, maybe. Who knows? Who knows what happens on that island? But I think that's not necessarily what they're implying. So Voidzilla has just done a video on it, and it's about a 15-minute video, but I thought maybe we could watch it. I mean, Voidzilla is like a massive channel, so I don't feel bad for just like, you know, watching his video on my channel. So maybe we should do that because it's pretty interesting, and it's current, and it ties Epstein, which we've been talking about, and I think we'll probably go a little bit deeper into that. Can anyone tell me as well, is Voidzilla CoffeeZilla? Is this the same person? Because I've heard that name before. Mark says, holy shit, they gave me the pink drink in elementary school. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what the hell, I don't know what that's about, dude. I think a lot of us remember the pink drink. Yes, yes. Okay, so it's the same person. I thought so. I thought it was. Look, to just try and be balanced and to try and add some reassurance to people who may begin thinking that we've all been drugged with a pink drink in year 5, there is a chance that we may be conflating memories with cough medicine. I would just want to come out and say that. We may not be X-Men. We may just have a chest infection. I think pink Mitsubishis was something else. I think I may have had them too growing up. Actually, I definitely did. But that's not what we're talking about. All right. Let's check this video out. This is CoffeeZilla. This video is called It's All Coming Out.
Coming out today, the Wall Street Journal not only released an article, today they're...
I'm so sorry. I think that was really loud. I'm sorry. Apologize.
Getting sued as well for this article about Donald Trump's connection to Jeffrey Epstein. It's explosive. It's about a letter Trump sent to Epstein with supposedly a drawing of a naked woman by Trump, along with a little poem which talks about a wonderful secret that Jeffrey Epstein and Trump share. We will go through all the evidence because there's a lot to this. You are very silly if you jump to conclusions on a story this big with this wide of implications. Let's set the stage because we're going to take our time going through this. The president's behavior during the run-up to this Epstein file.
Yeah, bro's shouting, isn't he? And this is normal playback speed, by the way. And he's yelling and quite quickly. I don't think that's necessary. It's not really what we do here on this channel, like a more relaxed vibe. You want to try him at 0.75? I've never had to reduce anyone's speed ever. Let's just see what this sounds like.
Leak has been absolutely strange.
Are you still talking about?
If it didn't have that weird warping effect, that would actually be a nice speed for me. But with the weird warping, it's a bit like, we'll go normal speed. And I've turned it down a little bit. I apologize.
Jeffrey Epstein?
It's pretty boring stuff. It's sordid, but it's boring.
You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there, because there's a lot of phony stuff.
You know, these files were made up by Comey. They were made up by Obama.
Even his...
That was weird, right? Like, dude literally campaigned on the Epstein files. Like, we're gonna get him out. We're gonna drain the swamp. Gets in and he's like, why do you all care about the Epstein files? Like, get over it. Okay, bro.
Reporters are like, well, why is he acting this way? It's so weird. All of a sudden it goes from the files exist to they don't exist to they're a hoax, actually, and there's a bunch of phony stuff in there. This article, if true, explains a lot of the strange behavior. And we don't know if there's more that's going to come out, if this is all there is. But I'm going to go through the main allegation, and I will call it an allegation because Trump is definitely going to sue over this. He's already said as much. So here's basically the story. Supposedly, Ghislaine Maxwell collected letters from Trump and dozens of Epstein's associates for a 2003 birthday album. It was for his 50th birthday. Pages from the leather-bound album, assembled before Epstein was first arrested, are among the documents examined by the Department of Justice officials. So there are birthday letters to Epstein.
Can we just say as well, like, again, if you've watched the Jesse Michaels episode that was out today, which you absolutely should if you haven't, they talk about the fact that, like, Epstein was... My mic is always too low. It looks okay on my end. They talk about the fact that Epstein seemed to be running, obviously, a blackmail operation. That's obvious by now. But that he was also, like, heavily tied into the science community and was like always inviting like physicists, high-level scientists. Kurt Metzger refers to Stephen Hawking as the wheelchair robot guy in the podcast. And that was just the funniest part of the podcast for me. Like, that guy is hilarious. But yes, he had the wheelchair robot guy on his island. We all know that. And other people who were like deeply in that area, which is the realm and the people that would probably also be exploring 0-point energy, the type of technology that UFOs would possibly use, anti-gravity stuff, right? So it's weird that, so what I found interesting is the fact the Wall Street Journal published like a hit piece on the UFO topic, like trying to kill it and just say all UFO encounters are just military hazing, which is obviously hilarious. And then the same thing is now putting out this hit piece on the president. Like, you know, and it has to do with Epstein too, which is interesting, right? But like to put out a hit piece on the president, even if it is him involved in this stuff, right? Like, what am I trying to say? Obviously, anyone who is actually involved in this stuff should absolutely be trialed and be found guilty and punished appropriately. 100%. Doesn't matter who you are. But the fact that the Wall Street Journal is writing this about the current president of their country, and Americans, correct me if I'm maybe out of touch or getting this wrong, the fact that they're doing that, to me, shows that there is like a clear like agenda and sides. I mean, I guess that's kind of obvious, right? I mean, you've got left and right wing, but I think it's deeper than that. I think this is far deeper than that. I think it's more than like left and right. It's like people who are trying to maybe keep control of the current narrative, i.e. the Wall Street Journal, trying to disrupt and tear down perhaps anyone who may be trying to change that. Now, again, I'm not saying Trump is innocent or guilty. I don't know. I mean, he's certainly got a lot of photos with Epstein, that's for sure. But who knows? Let's keep going.
That supposedly have been seen by the DOJ. They have them in their files. And the one from Trump supposedly has a naked woman, which appears to be hand-drawn with a heavy marker. And the future president's signature is a squiggly Donald below her waist. The Wall Street Journal goes on to say it's not clear how the letter with Trump's signature was prepared. Inside the outline of the naked woman was a typewritten note styled as an imaginary conversation between Trump and Epstein. Voiceover: there's more to life than having everything. Donald: yes, there is, but I won't tell you what it is. Jeffrey: nor will I, since I also know what it is. Donald: we have certain things in common, Jeffrey. Yes, we do, come to think of it. Enigmas never age. Have you noticed that? As a matter of fact, it was clear to me the last time I saw you. And the final line is, a pal is a wonderful thing. Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret. Obviously, that is an insane thing to write to what later would be found out to be one of the world's most prolific but
yeah, he's not wrong. He's not wrong at all. The only problem that I have with this, with Trump potentially being on the Epstein list, and like there's obviously lots of reasons to feel like he might be. The only thing that I'm like unsure about is like when all this happened, the Democrat Party were in power. The Democrats had access to all of this stuff for years before Trump was in power. So it's like, and you know, I mean, that his campaign was like just a circus, the way they were attacking each other. And I feel like if there was something on him and the Democrats had possession of that, they would have used it against him. I feel like, surely. I don't know. What do you guys think? That with the way things went, I feel like they absolutely would have. But I don't know. Maybe it's deeper than that. Maybe it's way deeper than that. In fact, it probably is way deeper than the left and right parties that are probably just like the shop window for us to all look at and be like, oh, I'm voting left, I'm voting right, I'm doing my part, I'm making a difference. No, you're not. No, you're not, bro. You're an idiot.
But there's also 2 lines in there which are horrendous. One, enigmas never age. That's just a strange line. It's a very incriminating sounding line. We don't know what it means exactly. And then also we see, may every day be another wonderful secret. Of course, this all written inside the outline of a naked woman kind of tells you what secret they may be talking about there. Now we're going to go over Trump's response, and then, of course, all the evidence, all the denials, what you may want to know before making up your mind. Like I said, this is not a story where you're going to want to snap to judgment. Even now,
Voidzilla spitting facts. You should never snap to judgment. Don't let your preconceived ideas about someone, their character, get in the way of hearing the facts and learning things first. You don't even have to make up your mind from watching this video, right? Because unless you have hard evidence, you don't actually know. So, you know. Just quickly, before I go any further, L says this whole debacle has made it clear that voting doesn't do shit. This whole debacle, for me, has, like, cemented the fact that the Western world is compromised by non-human intelligence. Like, to me, after, like, that's just where I'm at right now. That seems like, because voting doesn't make a difference. Of course it doesn't. It's obvious, like, that's obvious now. Like, if anything was ever going to, like, radically change, it seems like Trump was going to be that guy, based on, like, the venom that was going both ways in the campaign. But so far, it doesn't actually seem like that. So far, right? And I've always said, you should always reserve judgment until the end of when someone's finished their work. Just like you should never judge an artist that isn't finished. You should save your judgment to the end. But so far, it's got me feeling like this is so much deeper than we think. Like this, and this is why I'm beginning to talk, like, more openly, I guess, about I still find it funny to say, but, like, reptilians and Nordics. Because this could be a war that has been going on a long, long time that we are in the middle of. And it's being fought by, like, ancient races and intelligences and breakaway civilizations. And we are just, like, literally the working class. I don't know. That's not a fully fledged out theory. But, like, with the way things are, it's kind of like, I think this is the only one left that actually makes sense. That's where we're at. Stevie with $8 says, don't think he's on it, but I think there are people on there whose presence there would destroy American society and possibly impact foreign nations. Yeah, Stevie, thank you for the $8, man. I think it's like, okay, because clearly Epstein's a Mossad agent, okay? He's an Israeli intelligence plant running a honeypot operation that has caught America by the balls, okay? These, like, you know, little nerdy American scientists, wheelchair robot man. You've got all these probably sex-deprived nerds who are super smart, probably the people building UFOs, getting invited to Epstein Island, getting showered in all of this kind of crazy stuff. And then Israel is maybe like, hey, we know about all this, and, you know, now you kind of do what we say. I don't know. I'm not saying that, but it kind of, based on the evidence we can see, kind of seems that way. And, you know, Israel, and you've got Juliet Bryant, who we covered in the, you're a nerd too, bro. Brian, you don't need to tell me that, brother. I look at UFOs and aliens all day. You don't need to tell me. You've got Juliet Bryant saying that she saw Epstein shapeshift with big black eyes and, like, devil features. Like, what is that? What is that about? Are we just gonna brush her off as some kind of, like, crazy lady because that's just too hard for us to accept? I'm not, personally. But I know some people do. Like, what is that? Billy Corgan from the Smashing Pumpkins says that he saw the same person shapeshift twice. Seems like a pretty normal dude to me. Bleak with a $5 says Courtney Brown has been saying this for a while, apparently. Yeah, we looked at Courtney Brown a while ago. I'm not, like, super deep on his work. But, yeah. Yeah, he has. It's an ancient war for human consciousness is essentially the idea there. And when you look at the media and you look at the things that are championed in society, it's hard to disagree with that. But it's almost like if you're not aware to this knowledge, you wouldn't notice it. And that's probably by design.
Now, I think there's still a lot we need to see. But I want to go over Trump's response. He gave an interview with the Journal on Tuesday evening, and he denied writing the letter or drawing the picture. Quote, "This is not me. This is a fake thing. It's a fake Wall Street Journal story. I never wrote a picture in my life. I don't draw pictures of women," he said. "It's not my language. It's not my words." He told the Journal he was preparing to file a lawsuit if it published the article. "I'm going to sue the Wall Street Journal just like I sued everyone else." What do we make of this? Before we jump into the evidence, before we jump into all the reactions, both public and of the people involved, let's just talk about what this could mean. The denial puts Trump in a very particular position, because if it later comes out and turns out to be true, it's worth saying the Wall Street Journal did not publish a photo of the letter, which everyone's been asking for. There are a lot of reasons not to publish it. Maybe your source didn't allow it, but that's a huge part that could come out that changes the whole landscape of this, right?
Yo, can we get some love in the chat for your pal John, my pal John? Welcome to the Weirdos Club, John. Thank you for being here, man. You got lots of new content to go and dig into. Members section of the Discord as well. Discord is open to everyone, by the way. The members just have their own section in there to hang out and get extra weird. Suki's looking extra shiny today. Suki had, she gets dinner every night. She gets breakfast and dinner, biscuits. But the last couple of nights, she's been getting sardines on top of her biscuits, which she loves, and her little kangaroo joint protection thing. She is a spoilt little pig. And I forget that like pig is like a bad term. You know, calling someone a pig is like rude, but she's a staffy that snorts all the time. So pig is like, it's just a loving term. She's my little pig because she snorts all the time. If I should get a Suki mic and you guys would probably hear her snoring. But you know, I got to get a camera that doesn't overheat first.
If it comes out, it's very devastating because you wouldn't lie about something like this if you thought it was no big deal, right? The denial actually implies a lot of bad things about what the letter could mean. If you weren't worried about a story like this, if you thought the letter was nothing, you wouldn't deny it. You would just give no comment. You certainly wouldn't give an interview. So now we're going to talk about the reactions of the people involved, because it's worth saying Trump is not the only letter mentioned in here. And I think that's really important because in a story like this,
I got an African gray telepathic bird at home. Yo, those birds are sick. I went down the TikTok rabbit hole on African gray parrots, and they can like tell you the different textures. Like he'll give him different things, and the bird's like glass, rock, paper. You guys like my bird voice? No, but seriously, it's actually unreal. They can like converse. It's crazy intelligent. I actually saw a wild comment that I'm trying to find before because it kind of relates to, yeah. James Anthony says, my mate saw his Pentecostal pastor shapeshift into a tall gray. That's fucking wild, dude. James, I don't know if you've seen my members only video that I put up just like a couple of hours ago. I speak about my experience with a Pentecostal church and how weird it is, or how weird I found it anyway. I would love to hear more about that. Can you tell me more about that? Like, who was it? What church? Where? What country? Because that's wild. Yeah, that's wild.
You want to look to what could be corroborating evidence. So, Alan Dershowitz is cited in the piece having written a letter that included a mock-up of a Vanity Unfair magazine with mock headlines of who was Jack the Ripper? Was it Jeffrey Epstein? Alan, a former lawyer for Epstein, does not deny this. He says, it's been a long time, and I don't recall the content of what I may have written. Lex Wexner also supposedly had a letter in there. He declined to comment. Supposedly, his letter was, I wanted to get you what you want, so here it is. After the text was a line drawing of what appeared to be a woman's breast. And then we have a former assistant who was not cited, who sent Jeffrey a letter. Oh, Jeffrey of Jeffrey, everyone loves you. Fun in the sun, fun just for fun. Pretty innocuous. And then, of course, we have Donald Trump, who denies, of course, the whole thing. So we have some non-denials, some people who just didn't respond, and then we have Trump. Trump's the only one who's firmly denying this letter so far, with him doubling down on Truth Social, saying, it's not my words, it's not the way I talk. Also, I don't draw pictures. I told Rupert Murdoch it was a scam and he shouldn't print this fake story, but he did, and now I'm going to sue him in his third-rate newspaper. Now, a couple comments quick on that. One, the Wall Street Journal is not a third-rate newspaper. It's also not a super left-leaning newspaper. Not that that should matter in journalism, but I know people's media literacy, that stuff kind of does kind of tip off their signals. It's unlikely they're going to publish something they know they're going to get sued for unless they have something. And so here's where I want to talk about a little bit of the circumstantial.
James says he saw it last year, still can't stop talking about it. I think you said you're from Perth as well. Dude, does your friend want to talk to me about it? Tell your friend to email me. I would like if he wants to fully lay out his story, I would love to read it and potentially talk about it on the channel, either with him or if he wants to be anonymous, that's cool too. Or even just if he just wants to talk about it, because that's interesting. Pentecostal pastor shapeshift into a tall gray. I need to hear that story.
Stuff. So Trump obviously states, I don't draw pictures, but turns out that's kind of not true. So in a book called Never Give Up, Trump wrote, each year I donate an autographed doodle to the Doodle for Hunger auction at Tavern on the Green. It's a great event. And sure enough, publicly you can find several doodles that Donald Trump has done. Most of these are of skylines, architecture. None of these are of women. Still, it's strange to say I don't draw pictures when you very clearly draw pictures and they appear to be in thick marker, which is what you were accused of drawing them in. Now, none of that means anything, but it just reminds me a little bit of the Prince Andrew denial. I don't know if you guys remember the sweat denial. A big part of the interview with Prince Andrew was the denial that he couldn't have done anything bad because he couldn't sweat. So this supposedly falsified Virginia Giuffre's whole story.
I have a peculiar medical condition, which is that I don't sweat, or I didn't sweat at the time.
So yeah, that was kind of this claim like, hey, this couldn't be true because I don't do X, but actually we see.
You look pretty sweaty to me, bro. Quite sweaty, actually. Not even just a bit of mild perspiration. You are drenched, brother. You definitely sweat. Mm-hmm.
That Prince Andrew actually does sweat. And in the same way, it's not perfect proof, but you really shouldn't say you don't draw pictures when being accused of drawing thick black marker pictures.
Prince Andrew looks like he's definitely had a few pink Mitsubishis in that photo. Mm-hmm.
When you definitely draw pictures sometimes. I mean, it's just, and it's public. I mean, that's just kind of just an obvious, devastating hole in your whole argument. Now, again, I've got to say, this is just the basics. We do not have the letter, okay? I'm relying on the Wall Street Journal's reporting on this, and we're corroborating with different pieces of public evidence. Ultimately, we...
DEFCON Mitsos. You want to know a funny fact? I'm actually in a DEFCON Netherlands after movie. I won't tell you which one, but I speak to the camera and you can hear me. I'm not going to tell you which one, though. Maybe you'll find it.
We need to see if this was actually in the Epstein files. But there are some other stuff, too, that we can look to corroborate this story. So we can look at the bookbinder. So in the Wall Street Journal report, we see a very specific and interesting corroboration. It says the book was put together by the New York City bookbinder Herbert Weitz, according to people involved with the process. Weitz listed Epstein as a client on his website in 2003. So here we have a chance to corroborate externally. Of course, it's not a full corroboration, but we have a chance to look to see, was it actually on his website, right? So if we go to the archive, we see in 2003 at whitescoleman.com, we see a client list and we see Jeffrey Epstein is listed on it with a different spelling of Jeffrey, I should note. And this says people for whom we have bound up books and albums. This is another piece of circumstantial evidence that makes it hard to believe it's just fully made up. Now, you can believe something in the middle.
It's definitely not fully made up. Like... I mean, this has, if the if post-COVID, the normies' belief in the government wasn't already shattered, if the fact that like the Epstein list has been an ongoing thing for years, basically since it happened, and then for the government to come out and say there isn't a list, even though like a couple of weeks ago they were like, the list is on our desk. Oh, cool. Can we see it? There's no list. Oh, but you just said there was. Yep. But there's not. Oh, okay. Let's go watch football. Woo! Full, where did that comment go? Full Minitro says, I've seen literally at least 100 Nordics in a private event as a waiter. All 2 meters tall, the same age, 23 years old, blue eyes, and they all would have been, they all could have been twins, super wealthy. We weren't allowed to smoke or talk. Can you tell me more about that? Can you give me more details, please? I want to know where was this? What was this function for? Like, was this a company? Were they, was this just like a private birthday? And what did you hear them talk about if you were a waiter at their event? Tell me more. Give me some deets.
You can believe that the letter exists and the Wall Street Journal saw it and somebody invented it, right? Like, there are a lot of options here, but the idea that, okay, the Wall Street Journal is just fully inventing this story. They're releasing something with literally no evidence. They're just fabricating it all, but citing all these different people, citing third-party stuff that you can fact-check publicly. That's a piece of evidence to think about. Now, we're going to talk about the public reactions to this. We have Caroline Levitt, the press secretary, saying the Wall Street Journal published a hatchet job with a fake birthday letter that's supposedly from 2003. This is like the Steele dossier that kickstarted the Russia hoax all over again. The Wall Street Journal refused to show us the letter and conceded they don't even have it in their possession when we asked them to verify the alleged document they're basing their entire fake story on. Then you have Dan Walken saying the amount of people who think publications, the scope of the Wall Street Journal, just put explosive stuff out about a public figure without well-established authentication procedures.
Pam Bondi be like, guys, I don't even have a desk. What are you talking about? What desk? I don't even work for the government. What's this camera doing in my face? Who are you?
And running it through a team of lawyers know literally nothing about journalism. Charlie Kirk says, this is not how Trump talks at all. I don't believe it. Referring to the actual letter's contents. Specifically, people picked up on the idea that Trump says enigma in the writing of it. In fact, Trump writing at all, some people find that hard to believe. JD Vance says, forgive my language, but this story is complete and utter bull. The Wall Street Journal should be ashamed of publishing it. Where's the letter? Would you be shocked to learn they never showed it to us before publishing it? Does anyone honestly believe this sounds like Donald Trump? Of course, then you have a response to that where somebody says, Carson's an enigma to me. This is clearly debunking the idea that the word enigma is not in Trump's vocabulary.
Now, Carson's an enigma to me.
So that clearly debunks the idea that he couldn't have written this because enigma wasn't in his vocabulary. It actually...
I mean, that's a pretty weak response to say enigma is not in my vocabulary. Like, what do you mean? Have you never heard the word enigma before? Like, who could say that? Who could say that? Like, that's just some dumbass shit if I've ever heard it. So this is going back to the Nordic party. He says, not really, unfortunately. They hired an old castle that functions as a museum currently, and their wish was to light it with red lights. They ordered alcohols to the event, but they didn't drink. Damn, interesting. Little Nordic party. Please add aliens after saying Nordics. I am Nordic from Norway, and as far as I know, I'm not an alien. As far as you know, you ever been checked? You got that RH negative going on? You don't know.
Actually is. So from where I'm sitting, the letter is odd, but it also is in line with some of these other letters from people like Lex Wexner. It's also in line with some of the doodles that Trump has publicly made. And it is also in line with Trump's recent odd behavior with the Epstein files, where he keeps setting up the idea that there's this big hoax coming, that there's phony stuff in there. And that actually is the most persuasive piece of evidence, Trump's own behavior in this weird meltdown, more than anything which has convinced me. Because on the one hand, there are some things which would tilt in the favor of it not being Trump, right? The very fact that it's a letter, the prose of the letter is a bit strange. And then you also have the fact that, okay, if the DOJ had this during the Biden years, why didn't it come out, right? So that's all pretty compelling until you once again...
That's what I said.
And just look at the way Trump has been behaving. I think it strongly suggests that Trump saw something in the Epstein files, was debriefed on something that he was worried about. Whether it was this letter or something else, I don't know. But clearly there's something in those files that he was concerned about being involved with. I think...
Yeah, I think that's pretty clear. I think, like, that's obvious at this point. But also, like, aside from that, I get it that, like, how do you also come out and say, yeah, we were blackmailed by our biggest ally? Well, maybe not our biggest ally, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah, you know those guys that we've been supporting bomb another country for like the last 2 years? Yeah, they blackmailed us, actually. How do you say that? How do you come out and say that? Without starting an even bigger war? I don't know. Tommy, welcome. Thanks for being here, brother. Yeah, I think that's actually the hardest part. Like, maybe Trump's on it, maybe he isn't, but I think the real difficulty in the Epstein list is, like, admitting the reality of what that actually means. It's not about, well, obviously who is on the list is important, but who is on the list, they're, like, yes, they may be offenders in something, but they're also people who have been caught in a blackmail operation, which doesn't excuse them. Let me be clear on that. But, like, I can understand why this is extremely complicated. It's extremely complicated, I think, because if we assume that's the reality of it, which I think it is, it's obviously a blackmail ring. People are compromised, people who were supposed to be like your allies, and now you can't really admit it because they have all this incriminating shit about you on tape. So you just got to kind of pretend it doesn't exist and try and figure out a way out, I guess. I don't know. Maybe the list is all names of lizard people who are shapeshifted, perhaps. Well, I mean, Juliette Bryant says she saw Epstein shapeshift, so wouldn't surprise me. Would not surprise me. And Max Spears says that there is a certain bloodline or like a strain of Jews that is reptilian. And they have been in a war with the Aryan race, the Nordics, for far longer than us apes have been here. That, as wild as that is, each and every day I'm starting to be like, I think that's the truth. Is that the sign of losing my mind? Or is that actually the world today? Because again, like the other thing that I lean into as well is it's like, that's such a wild, like, even though it like does make sense, it's such a wild idea, but there aren't any other options. What else is left that's like explains actually what's going on here? Because we haven't stopped being in some kind of war since World War II, ever. Ever. Haven't stopped. Can't stop. That doesn't feel human to me. I don't think humans innately want to do that. I think we all just want to get along, have a good life, chill out, relax, get on with it. But I don't think something else does. That's just my opinion. Michael says the world is stranger than you can imagine. It certainly is. And on one of the shirts that are coming, okay, if you got a membership, you'll see it. If you don't have a membership, you'll have to wait. But one of the shirts does say, "The truth is stranger than fiction." It's one of my personal faves, and I think it's actually true. Like Richard Dolan says, what if it's all real? And like Stephen Greer says, the truth is so wild, it would discredit you immediately if you say it. And that's why I'm lucky, because I don't really care if I don't have like credibility to lose. I'm not somebody, like I'm not a Lou Elizondo who if I say something I get like, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter. And I just love coming up with theories, really, because it is just a theory at the end of the day, but seems like a good one to me and to the 400 odd of you guys as well. You know what we haven't done in a while is played a game. We haven't done a game show in a while. They were a lot of fun. I think that's enough of that video. Politics are fake and gay anyway. And I think we got the gist of it. It's all, everyone's compromised, everyone's blackmailed, and everyone sucks, really. Not us, obviously. I'm talking about the normie politic world. If they released it, surely they'd only have the US list names, and putting that out would compromise the USA, but leave the people running the blackmail ring free to pick up the pieces. I think that is a very intelligent comment that you've made there, and I agree with that 100%. What's under the beanie, Josh? Reptile skin. Yep. Lacerda. So glad to finally catch you live, Josh. Thank you for all the work. Much love, all you weirdos from France. Thank you, ND. Appreciate you being here. Shout out to the French. Tim Pool is the beanie king. I'm coming for his title. I mean, I normally wear hats. I'm honestly more of a hat person. But it's winter, and this is just a bit cozier at the moment. But I'm definitely more of a hat person. I need to get a new hat. I'll get a Polarity one soon. Show us those scales. No, you don't want to see that. No, it's just locks. It's just long, luscious, thick locks. I'm probably due for a haircut, to be fair. All right. We got a whole other section to get into here. We got a whole, like I remember at the start of the show, I said we got a whole secret space program survivor thing to get into. And this guy's really interesting. So if you guys haven't been watching, the last 2 nights, we've done kind of like 90 minutes worth of diving into a secret space program survivor. Sumo rides again. Welcome to the Weirdos Club. Some love and hearts for Sumo. Welcome, our latest little freak to the club. We looked into Max Spears yesterday and Nyara Eiley before that. And today we have a person named Tony Rodriguez. Has anyone in the chat heard of this person? Now, the thing isn't working, but while you tell me if you've heard of him, I'll get it working. There we go. Has anyone heard of Tony Rodriguez in the chat? Nope. I could use a Polarity beanie, says Tony. Stay tuned, Tony. There's one coming. It's got nice embroidery. Yep. I was talking to Tony in the chat then, not Tony Rodriguez, the space program survivor, in case that wasn't clear. Okay, so a few people have heard of him. Interesting. Interesting. How am I now just discovering you? I think your ideas are right on track. Thank you. Probably because I'm kind of new, I guess. How long have I been doing this now? 7, 8, 9 months, really. I've been posting on YouTube. Doesn't feel like long, but I guess that's kind of getting on. Kind of a while. So, this was posted. What we're going to look at here. So this is a thread on Twitter. We've got 3 videos to watch here, and this is the start of the thread. The thread starts off by saying, in 2014, a Russian spy satellite passed over the trans-Antarctic mountains and filmed this stunning megalithic buildings in Antarctica. The footage shows a megalithic structure as well as a complex city, including a structure in the shape of a swastika, including other buildings in Antarctica, which are only visible from space, as these spots have been blacked out in Google Earth and Google Maps. And this is apparently a video from this Russian satellite. So let's check this out. It's got no sound, I don't think. So this, I mean, obviously, yeah, the quality's not great, but I don't know if, oh, actually, can you guys see a swastika in that? Is this the swastika thing, do you think? I don't know. I don't know if this is the swastika, but it's obviously some formation of buildings, I guess. Okay, here we go. Yeah. Oh, okay. I feel like I can see it. Can you see my mouse? Yeah, you can. I feel like I can see it here, like that little bit here. That looks, I can see that. But is that here? I don't know. It kind of looks, I don't know. I mean, this is vague anyway. You know, this is unclear. This could be anything. This could be anything, and someone could say, look, it's a secret space program in Antarctica. It literally could be anything. We don't really know what the hell we're looking at here, but it's interesting. And it's the start of the thread that we're going to be looking at here. So let's just kick that to the curb. And let's go up a little bit. So here we go. I think here will do. So this says, according to Tony Rodriguez, a secret space program whistleblower, 200,000 Germans escaped to Antarctica after World War II. Or isn't that just like a bit of dirty talk? That is like dirty talk for the weirdos. Antarctica, Nazis. Oh. Yeah, okay. I know that there's something wrong with me. You don't have to tell me that. But there's probably something wrong with you too. That's why we're here. So this is nearly a 10-minute clip. This is from a podcast, and I've listened to a little bit of it. It's really interesting. It's really good. I'm excited. We'll pause along the way, but let's listen to Tony Rodriguez.
I'm saying, and it was dented. Like it looked like something fell from the top of the ceiling onto it and dented it in, and they fixed it. Like, and a lot of the steps, they had marble steps, old stone steps. They were all worn and beat down. It looked like an old city. Like it had been there a long time, like 60, 70 years old worth of buildings. You know, like that. And there were places that were newer. They were still building places, but everywhere that I went was old.
Do you think that they were there before World War II?
Well, so what it was they told us that they found it, that they found that place and started building it right around when they left. And I think that was like right around World War II.
When they left.
Like when they left Earth, they went there and they found existing ruins that somebody else was there, and they started converting them and building them into human kind of buildings.
Do you think that some of the scientists went to Ceres and the other scientists came to NASA?
I think just quickly I'll say this is clearly sped up. People are saying too much helium for this lady. She might have a high voice, yes, but I think these clips are definitely sped up for sure.
Yes, absolutely. I think a lot of people went. They were, and then the Ceres Colony Corp called the Antarctica Germans the High Command. That was the High Command. Like they had several. Like Ceres Colony Corp wasn't the only one. Wasn't the only colony that they set up. They got other colonies elsewhere in the Kuiper Belt and on other moons in the system in our solar system. But the command, like the central command part of it, was in Antarctica.
And Antarctica, that's what they're doing over there still, right?
Yeah, it's Germans.
Yeah. So essentially, the Germans didn't lose anything. They
didn't gain it.
Right.
Okay,
sorry to cut you off. I just had to.
No, go ahead. Keep asking questions. My head's kind of spinning. I think it's been a while since I talked about it all.
So you went to Ceres and there were the.
Again, I don't know who this guy is. I don't know his backstory. I've never seen anything else about him, and I'm not trying to debunk him or anything like that. But like when he says like, "Oh yeah, I forgot all about it. It's been ages since I talked about it." Like, bro, if this is real, if what you're saying is real, I would not stop talking. I would have never stopped talking about it. I would have kept talking forever until someone believed me that there is Nazis running a space program in Antarctica. Like that seems like the thing that you should never ever stop talking about ever. Am I wrong or? I don't think the Germans lost. Grok is in the heart of America. Never seen either of them. Yeah, me either. The Falkland Island War related. Yeah, possibly. All that stuff, around there is very interesting. Do the beanies come with the foil lining or is it DIY? That will be DIY, unfortunately. I did inquire, but it wasn't an option, unfortunately. They didn't lose anything. They just got smarter about higher contact with the occult. Seems like it.
Austrians.
Well, you can call them the Germans, but they didn't. Like I said, they didn't consider themselves strictly Germans. They were like from the old empire.
But that's why I'm wondering how long they had been there. It was before the empire broke up,
Yeah, well, it was their. I don't want to say religion, but it was their history. Like they had their own version of history that we don't have. Like they had their own version of history. They taught their people that lived there.
But they were proud of it. The Dracos, the Germans were.
Yes, they were sponsored by the Dracos.
So he's saying the Nazi regime is sponsored by the Dracos, which is like, I mean, obviously it's a wild thing to say, but it kind of contradicts it. The idea is it, hey, correct me if I'm wrong, but is the idea not that these Nazis were obsessed with Nordics, the Aryan race, whatever you want to call it. So to hear that there's, I mean, who knows? I mean, who actually knows? I mean, what the fuck are we talking about here? We're not going to come up with any answers in this stream, but it's just so confusing, isn't it? $2 from Toxic Fart for a Suki treat. I'll let her know when she wakes up. Thank you, man. Appreciate that.
And then that happened during World War II, that they became friends with the Dracos?
I believe so, yeah. Yeah, it was after that, and then that they went out and colonized up there. So, and then what they were doing was, well, so on the first ship, on the submarine ship, I didn't have a role that let me know where we went. Couldn't never look out the window. There was no window. I was a repair officer, maintenance. And so I was like down, imagine like working in the engine room of the Titanic. You wouldn't know where you were or what was going on. I didn't know anything what was going on. And so that was for a long time. It was like, 7-8 years that I did that. And then that ship got decommissioned and I went to a different ship and I got promoted. And then I had access to the mission briefings and I kind of knew where we were going and what we were doing. I went into cargo engineer, and what we were doing was trading other civilizations for goods, for tech. They wanted technology, and we were constantly trading. We went 4 places a day, every day.
What were you trading?
Everything under the sun. Sometimes we took shoes.
Really?
We took giant cases of shoes once.
Is it just me, or is like when people say things like that, I'm just like, I'm already really stretching my imagination and like trying to be open-minded that this is a possibility and there is something happening, and I do think it is. But when you tell me you're going around the galaxy in Nazi spaceships to trade shoes, I struggle. I really struggle with that. Don't tell me you're going to intergalactic trade warfare for a pair of dunks. I just can't. Yeah. Hey, maybe a pair of TNs are worth a lot on Neptune. Maybe they don't make them over there. Who knows? Maybe we have, these are like special Earth edition dunks. We've got colorways that they don't have on Venus. Who knows?
We would take everything. They said that there was a big, we had to wait to leave one time, and we were on a tight schedule, and we had to wait to refill the water tanks. And I said, we don't even need water. We can replicate water, because they have machines that can make the food, like just like in Star Trek, not as fast, not as fancy and not as fast, but basically the same thing. And I told, there was an officer there, like a germ, one of the Series colony people. I said, why do we need even water? And he said, only a fool travels anywhere without water. You'd be a fool. He's like, what happens if the ship breaks down and we can't turn on the replicator? You're going to die. And he said that later on that day, I went, okay, but still, this is taking us a long time to fill up these tanks. We could be going. I mean, you know what I mean? Like in my mind, I was thinking, what a waste of time. But later on, when I saw him later in that day or the next day, he said, that one of our ships acquired one of our great technologies just because they ran into somebody when they needed water. So in other words, there was an advanced ship, an advanced species that was more technologically advanced than the Series colony, and they crashed on a planet. And a Series colony ship came up for aid, and they gave them water for aid because they had everything else taken on. Like they're like, we can fix our own ship. Nobody's hurt. We just need some water. You got any water? And they gave them water off their tanks, and they traded, and they gave them some technology that was super advanced.
Wow! Oh, so
that was a jackpot.
Had everything available to trade if they needed it.
Well, right. Well, he said that's one. He's like, that's all they had was water, and they ended up being one of the richest missions that we ever had. It was one of the biggest advancements that they ever had. And he said, just because they had water, if you can supply a need at the right time, kind of thing. And he said after that, they mandated it that every single ship had to have water on it. They just, it's a good idea to have water,
right?
So they had giant tanks. I forget how.
So like, I know I'm just trying to picture like this scenario. So it's like everyone just sort of like, is this just like a desert? Like, is space just like a desert with these like roaming, highly advanced technological nomads that just like bump into each other and trade shoes for technology and water? Like, what is this? And I mean, I don't know. I need more information, but it's, yeah. Polarity only shows clips of people who speak fast. I didn't speed this one up. This is just how it was uploaded. I agree, it is very quick. Probably quicker than I would do it, to be fair. But yeah, it is what it is. I don't have control over this one, unfortunately. A few people saying they don't know about him. Dark Forest theory, yeah. Yep. I think, yeah, we all know the 3-body problem is like referenced a lot by people in interesting places. And it would make a lot of sense. It would make a lot of sense. Maybe, when Jack Parsons was jacking off with Aleister Crowley in the desert, making Babylon working rituals, maybe they accidentally contacted something. And now there's no shutting that door. Now we just serve them. Who knows?
God, it was in Leaders. I forget how many liters it was, but they were big ass tanks. I mean, it took them 30 minutes to fill them up. So it was a lot of water that they had. They had two main tanks, and they were kind of in the front of the ship, and towards the front, underneath the lower deck. And but I remember that, and I always dwelled on that. You know what I mean? Like they traded water for this huge fortune. Basically, technology is a big fortune for them. You know what I mean? They had money, but it was based on tech. The goal is to trade other civilizations to advance your own technology. And so they traded. That story that he told me of that somebody basically, if you just have some water on you, you could get rich. If you found somebody that was wealthy and needed it at that time, you know what I mean? Like they got millions of dollars for a couple bottles of water. Basically, that kind of trade.
If we're to follow this line of thinking, to me, it just sounds like what is this place? What? So you leave Earth and now you're just in some ever roaming cosmos of bumping into people and just trading to survive with them. Like, I just don't know about this. Just don't know about this. Here we go. JC says, this chat is how they were run 10 years ago. Anybody who can't afford membership, comments ignored. Too bad. Some people have nothing left because they've been on the front lines with truth. JC, my man, go and get yourself a glass of tap water. Take a deep breath. Sit down. Maybe do a little bit of breath work. Okay, the world isn't against you. No one's ignoring you. Okay, you've got a few minutes on the show now. No one's ignoring you, bro. We're all here. There's nearly 500 people in the chat, actually. Sometimes people just get missed. This isn't a conspiracy. No one's against you. No one's putting you in a box because you don't have a membership. Just relax, brother. Take a deep breath. Go outside, touch some grass. It's all good.
I wonder what kind of technology that they were getting. And what year was that? 1989 now or something?
So that would have been, so that when I was on that ship was much later, and it was more like 96, 97 when I started serving on that ship.
And that's still like
my last
23 years ago. Like imagine how much technology that they have now.
And they had a fleet of those ships trading every day. And they said that they showed me the roster. Like one guy showed me a picture. There's a billboard. So they would go to, there's a bunch of space stations around Jupiter. And they would go to a space station there, and there's a trade set up, like a trading organization. And they have those stations all throughout several galaxies. And what it is if you're a civilization and you're willing to trade, you can go on this bulletin board. And that's how they can contact each other. Right? So let's say you want to trade. You know what I'm saying?
A bulletin board? This is like MySpace. Do you remember bulletins on MySpace? That's crazy. Yo, Michael, my man, with 5 gifted. Thank you, brother. 5 people. We've just got 5 new weirdos. 5 people now have access to members-only videos, member section of the Discord, and the best part is you get to use the emojis. Can we see some Polarity loves and hearts for all of our new weirdos? And if you just got a free membership from Michael, make sure you say thank you. Use your manners.
And it doesn't work like Craigslist, where they show what you've got. Like if you want to sell something, let's say, I don't know where you're at, you're in your home, Heidi, and you want to sell some stuff or trade, right? So instead of putting on Craigslist that you have this is what I have, they don't have that at all. You just put that you want to trade. I'm available for trade, and here's where I'm at. I'm in this town, right?
Right.
Then somebody would come along and go, well, I'm trading. I'll go, I'm gonna try this one, Heidi, and there's a contact, and then you meet, and then you discuss. I would come over your house and we would discuss what you have for trade, and I would show you what I have.
Yeah, I want to suss out Galactic Tinder. What's that like? They got any of those thick whites on there? I'm sorry.
For trade. That's how the bulletin board worked in Jupiter. So somebody told me, I said, aren't we going to run out of, because we were getting to the point where sometimes we would go and meet people and they were like, blow them off. We wouldn't even show up. They'd be like, screw them. And I said, well, what happens when we run out of places to trade? And one guy showed me, he said, the bulletin board is this big. And he went down and it was literally like, it's like a trillion listings.
So it's like unending.
Right. He said we could have 1 million of our ships. He said we currently have there was less than 100 of the cargo ships that were trading for Ceres Colony Corp. He said we currently have this many ships. He said if we had 1 million ships, they could trade 10 a day for the next 1,000,000 years.
Oh wow.
We'd never get to all the listings. We would never get through all the listings. That's how many different civilizations are available, solar systems are available to trade with.
And right now, I heard that this is kind of off subject, but on subject of the Dracos, but they're saying that essentially that these Germans are the one world power.
So what I was told by them, so what I was told by them, so when they were walking me back, they were like, you're going back to America, you know what I mean? One German up on Ceres Colony said, don't ever vote. He said, never waste your time voting because it's rigged. We rigged it long ago.
Yo, I could have told you that. You don't need to go be in a Nazi secret space program to know that. You just got to watch Polarity. I would have told you that. I'm sure a lot of you guys could have told someone that as well. Heidi with a 5-month. Guys, by the way, if you have been a member, every month you can do like a milestone chat, which is kind of like a free super chat. So it gets read out, like what Heidi's just done for 5 months. Love this weirdo community. Y'all the best. Thanks for bringing us together, Josh. My pleasure, Heidi. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being an awesome, helpful mod as well. I appreciate you. And Emperor, another new weirdo. Can we get some loves for our latest little freak? Emperor, welcome. Enjoy all the new content and member section of the Discord. And $20 from Barty. No note left. Don't know if that was a mistake. Barty, if you drop a message in the chat, I'll read it. But thank you for the $20. I appreciate you a lot. Dracos are all self-serving. Well, I am curious how you know that with such confidence. Perhaps you're one of them.
He said, don't even waste your time. Just don't do it. And I remember that clearly because it was like, I remember it kind of hurt my feelings to think about it. But then, so here we are. Like, it's relative because where's everything's shaken out? Like, the servers where all our votes go that get altered is in Germany, of all places. Yeah. You know what I mean? I went, oh, wow, the Germans again. I even posted that. I said, wow.
Wait, what? Hang on. What did he just say?
Don't even waste your time. Just don't do it.
Let me just go back a little bit.
He said, don't ever vote. He said, never waste your time voting because it's rigged. We rigged it long ago. He said, don't even waste your time. Just don't do it. And I remember that clearly because it was like, I remember it kind of hurt my feelings to think about it. But then, so here we are. Like, it's relative because where's everything's shaken out? Like, the servers where all our votes go that get altered is in Germany, of all places. Yeah. You know what I mean? I went, oh, wow, the Germans again. I even posted that.
Is that true? Surely that's not true, right? Wait, do you guys even, I mean, he's obviously talking about America, right? Do you guys, you don't have digital voting, do you? Do you? Is it on servers? I need people to chime in on this. Yes? No? X? No? Bold claims? What is the cosmic eBay return policy? It was in 2022. Paper? Yeah, I thought it was paper. Ra says, I thought they might have been in Israel. Yeah, you're, I wouldn't blame you for thinking that. Okay, so there is just a multitude of different answers in the chat. So I think this is one of those ones that we just say we don't know. And we keep watching the video.
I said, wow, it figures the Germans. But what we're finding is that it's the CIA that controls the media and has, like we've been told all along, like we suspect all along, right. And that the intelligence and what other people have said that have come forward is that the intelligence organizations of the world were all controlled by the breakaway Germans.
Right.
So the CIA, the KGB, the Mossad, those are all just one organization. It's one global organization that is the security apparatus of every country.
Yes.
So,
whoa. Whoa, that's compartmentalization. And I've actually said that I feel like countries are like the leaders of countries are like, to us, it's like, oh, they're the leader, they're the top. But I actually think they're like the regional manager and they all report to something else. I've always said that on this channel. I've said it multiple times. To go a step further and say the intelligence agencies of each country are actually just a different branch of one organization. Again, as wild as that is to say, it's like, that could explain why things are the way they are. And until like someone who is from a position to like explain things to us, who we would expect to be told these things from, we are left to just go with our own conspiracy theories because no one else is giving us answers as to like what the hell is going on. So like, what do you expect us to do? Of course, we're going to create our own conspiracy theories, some of which are probably true, most of which are probably true. But like, what do you expect? If people aren't going to give us truth, we're just going to have to dig it up ourselves, and it's probably going to be like dirty along the way. You're going to come across like, you know, theories you're probably going to get out that aren't quite true, but it's like on the way to truth. And it makes more sense than the shit we get fed anyway. There was military NATO games in Europe. They grabbed those machines years ago. I think there's some truth to that. They scratch each other's backs, but I don't think it's to that extent. That's my guess. Tony is a very honest guy. I know his story sounds wild. I've been in Zoom meetings with him nearly every week for 4 years. Wow, Beth. Wait. Beth, I mean, your avatar is very small to me, but are you that girl in the video? Are you her? Because you kind of look like her from your display picture. And you've been in Zoom meetings with this guy for 4 years, so I'm just trying to work out what that means. Yeah, tell us more. That's not you. Okay. Tell us more. How do you know Tony? And yeah, give us a bit more context.
So, and they can control the world through that. Not even the banking.
And that's what supposedly Trump is trying to break away from. But if they're in space on all the colonies above us with all this technology, how are we going to break away?
Right. Well, you know what I mean? There's only the only way to do it. You can't solve a problem if you don't know it exists. And so there has to be a disclosure. There has to be disclosure of the problem.
You think that this whole thing is just to disclose what it is?
Well, it's a fight over disclosing. Like we're gonna get it. We're to the point where they can't stop it. They can't hold back disclosure any longer. Like in the next 10 or 15 years, people are just going to figure it out on their own. Like there's going to be because the technology at colleges, at the college level, is now the technology that used to be secretly at the military level. Do you get what I'm saying? Like military could figure out that there's ETs 30, 40 years ago on their own. Now that level of technology is in the colleges, and the level that was back then in the colleges is in our house.
Yes.
So in another set of technology later, that technology where we could just build a device in our garage and discover life in the cosmos is going to be available to us in a short time, in 5 or 10 years.
Well,
that's a big call.
And I spent the rest of my time up there on Ceres Colony.
Erlen says, I went to high school with Tony. We used to blaze that space perp every day. I don't know if I believe you, Erlen, because the fact that 2 people happen to know Tony in my chat right now seems improbable. And going to high school and blazing the space perp with him every day feels like it may be a bit of a trick. But Beth, I believe you. She says, I'm in his Patreon group and personal friend. In his remote viewing group, mostly experiences in the Zoom meetings. Interesting. Very interesting. Erlen says, don't believe me, I'm lying. I thought so. You can't get it. You can't slip one past me, Erlen. Josh Stradamus sees all. I believe him. Yeah, I think someone actually said to me the other day that I shouldn't speed up my clips because it takes away from like being able to gauge someone's like tone and, you know, just like their overall vibe. And I don't know if I read that comment out when I saw it, but I did read it and I was like, yeah, I totally get that. And I do only do it to try and keep like the show in a, you know, condensed and punchy just so it isn't stretched out. But watching this, I totally agree. It's like, it's hard to gauge this guy because when he's so sped up like that, it kind of seems like he's on crack, which I'm sure he isn't. So yeah, I totally get that for sure. And I would like to find out more about this guy because it's super interesting stuff. We've got another video here. I'm also more like anti-speeding up. The pink drink was anti-pineal gland. I went to high school with a girl. We blazed it. True story. I know Tony. We went to space daycare together. Yeah, I think everyone now in chat knows Tony or has a story with Tony. All right, this is the last video for Tony. Let's check this out.
In order for someone to believe what I'm talking about, for anybody listening, really for you or anybody else to believe what I'm talking about at this point where we are in history, you must unbelieve something fundamental to yourself. You have to unbelieve something that's very fundamental to your life. In the beginning, I wanted to prove to everybody I was ready to fight about it. I wanted to fight. I said, no, this has happened to me. And I'm going to prove to you, that this is what's going on and you need to listen to me. And what I learned very quickly, that it's very damaging to do that to someone. Yeah. To take somebody and make them believe in this stuff can be damaging. Yeah. And there were people, it's not cool. So I only really
I respect that massively. The longer I've spent digging into this stuff, SS, welcome. Given what we're talking about, it's kind of a creepy name, but welcome, you little weirdo. Hopefully you're not part of the actual SS, but thanks for being here. Appreciate you. Check out all the new content you now have access to and the members section of the Discord. What I've learned looking into this stuff, can we see some loves not for the SS, but for SS the person? Just want to make sure we're clear about that. What I've learned looking into this stuff is that it is not for everyone. And I don't mean like on an interest level. I mean, when you start, how do I say this? Waking someone up who is not ready to be woken is not good. It's not right. It's not right. Like, it's actually not morally right, I don't think. Like, giving someone this trying to like tell someone about all of this information who like doesn't really want to know or who isn't really like prepared to like digest it. Yeah, because it's a burden. It's 100% a burden. Surely everyone in this chat would agree. As interesting and like that sounds a bit sick, but like exciting as it can be to like look into this stuff, it's a burden. Well, the knowledge is a burden because once you know and once you begin to see things for what they are, that's it. You can never go back. You can never, ever change it. In fact, you take the red pill, just like the Matrix. You can never go back, right? Maybe it was more than just a movie. So you shouldn't ever force, you wouldn't force the red pill down someone's throat, would you? So you shouldn't dump this knowledge on someone who isn't ready. It can be very dangerous to their mental health. It's like an ontological slam, 100%. An ontological suplex, some of this stuff can be. And if people aren't ready for it, or even just not prepared like to hold that information, because like I said, you can't ever let it go. Once you know, you know. And you then are forced, once you know, you're forced to live with that. You're forced to hold that knowledge and integrate in society still. Still be a taxpayer. Still go talk to the people who vote left and right and think they're making a difference. Still go and make small talk with the people at the office who watch the football every weekend and know the stats of all their favorite players because that's the most important thing in the world to them. And there's nothing wrong with that. Ignorance is bliss. Ignorance truly is bliss. So there's nothing wrong with that. But it's like you now are forced to live your life knowing what you know and integrating with the people who don't. And can you do that? Can you do that and be normal and be chill? And, not be the guy that's like, you don't know shit. You don't know that the world's run by satanic pedophiles. You don't know shit. Like, because yeah, it does kind of seem like it is, but is that a way to behave? Not really. Pretty destructive. No one wants to hang around you if you're going to walk around yelling that at people. Let people live in their ignorance. A part of me is jealous. A part of me is actually jealous. But that's the challenge, right? Once you know, can you integrate and interact like a normal person? That's the challenge. You'll never not have that challenge once you know.
Talk to people that ask.
Yeah.
And anybody that asks me about it, I'll answer the questions, sure.
Totally.
But this is where we're going. This is one of the things. This is one of the truths that's going to come out in the near future about what's going on with mankind. Because the other thing is,
this is why Gandalf liked the hobbits. Dude. Hell yeah. That's such a sick analogy. We're all like Gandalf, and the normies are just cute little hobbits living their little ignorant, happy lives. God bless them.
So, let's cut to the very end of the gist of it all, is that not only are there ETs, but there are trillions of separate species of spacefaring ETs. So it's not just one group. It's not the Pleiadians and Arcturians. Sure. It's not the Greys and the Reptiles. It's not that.
Does this dude only do interviews with babes? Maybe. My man might be a bit of a player. He's been on that galactic Tinder. He knows what he's doing.
Like, there are literally, at any given moment, 10,000 races passing through our solar system. The cosmos are not only more accessible, and it's all instantaneous. We went from Ceres Colony to Jupiter and then on to other galaxies and 4 or 5 stops and then back to Ceres Colony in the same day.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So in a 9 to 5 work day.
Yeah.
So that's how accessible space is once you get to a certain level of tech where they can make the it's an Einstein-Rosen, it's a portal.
Yep.
Isn't that just like so exciting to think about? Like if what he's saying is true, that, once you have the technology, it's like, space and distance is no longer a thing. You can just go where you want. You can go to Alpha Centauri, Zeta Reticuli, Nibiru. You can do a little round trip, little day itinerary. Nibiru at 8, Zeta Reticuli at 10, back at Nibiru by 2, and then at Earth for dinner. That's what that tech is. Stargate was a documentary.
And that's what space is really like, and that's what disclosure is really going to be, is that there aren't just a few races dealing with us. There are an endless supply of spacefaring nations, and they're formed into larger groups that sponsor species like ours to get into space and do business with each other, and trade of knowledge is really the name of the game. So that's the real revelation of what I'm trying to tell people, is that we're conditioned to think that once we get into space, it's still like 10 years to get to the next star, and that's not, or across the galaxy, and that's not the case at all. Like,
is she getting a little rizzed up by this guy? Man, her body language, I reckon this guy is a bit of a player. She's like leaning in, smiling, head on the hand, like she's into it. I reckon she likes him.
Endless number of doors.
She's totally, and like well said. I'm glad you brought that up. I guess,
she's so into him.
For all the haters, right? Just time will tell. Like keep waiting, because even me, like I never thought about the stuff. I like honestly had no interest in like sci-fi. Like I thought all that stuff was like so dumb. But then when I started digging,
when you started talking, oh my God,
into it, had my own awakening. I'm like, there's so many coincidences. It keeps coming up, like Earth bases underground, like all this stuff. I'm like, I don't know. But then when I hear these stories, I'm like, all right, like I'm waiting, I'm listening, and I think
she is so into him.
Even just look at like the tangible stuff.
Yes, Heidi, it did, eh? Her voice fully, she got like a real into it. She's into those intergalactic space travelers. I mean, aren't we all?
Elon Musk going to space. Like this stuff seems new. It's not new. These technologies have been around. It's just finally coming out into the public, the mainstream view. Finally our government has, acknowledged the Pentagon. Like, yes, there are UFOs. This is a real thing. These are things they've known for so long. And all these people that believe in UFOs and stuff are like, finally, right? So I just encourage people, keep waiting, keep watching. It's going to continue to come out. More and more people like you are coming out with stories like this. And I think this is like.
Lizzie says it's not like he's hot. Hey, Lizzie. Hey, there's someone for everyone. And I know for a fact that the ladies like a bit of salt and pepper. They certainly do. I'm not quite there yet. Maybe a few more years. We'll have a bit of a silver fox beard coming. With the stress that disclosure's putting on us, it may be next week.
Like obviously just my theory. I don't know as much about it, but do you think a large part of it too with these technologies is the free energy aspect? Because obviously it exists even with like Nikola Tesla and stuff. They had these technologies defying gravity and stuff. If we had free energy here, there would be no use for our billions of dollar oil industry, which would topple the economy. Like, is that one of the reasons they're hiding all this?
Yes.
I mean, look what's happening today. We have a war going on, and one of the main weapons of trade weapons is embargoing the oil.
Right.
So energy, you can by supplying energy, you can also withhold it.
Right.
It's kind of like your kids. You put your kids on an allowance, and they start misbehaving. I'm gonna cut your allowance.
Right.
That's what energy is, and it was the same for the Sirius colony. So that was the other thing, is that the ships were based.
Absolutely nothing wrong with the gray. I've actually got a few little grays in the mullet. You guys probably can't see them, but yeah, they're there, and that ain't nothing wrong with it. In fact, what wizard worthy of his weight doesn't have a bit of gray? In fact, I wouldn't trust a wizard that doesn't have gray in his beard or hair. So you know what? I think the grays are a sign of wisdom and knowledge.
Based on, not on size, but on power output. So free energy. So, I can build a box. Imagine that if you can build a box that makes free energy, how much energy does it make? Is it enough to power Las Vegas? Or is it enough to power a home? Or is it enough to power your cell phone for free? Mm-hmm. You get what I mean? Like, that was really the challenge, is that it required exotic materials.
Right.
And the larger the real, when you're talking about petawatts, like huge watts of power out of a small unit,
Yo, my man just stole number one in the chat with me with a $50 super chat. That is huge. They're big when they're red. Here from Northern Alaska, here in the Arctic. Thank you, Josh, and all the weirdos. My man, thank you. That's a huge super chat. Shout out to you in Alaska. Hey, you know where that Black Pyramid is? You heard any whispers on the street around the Black Pyramid up your way? If you hear anything, get at me. Get in my email. I need to know. We all need to know. And $20 from Zapparoo Great job, Josh. Cash for a Suki treat. She's asleep. I'm keeping it. I ain't even going to tell her. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. It's a massive super chat. Appreciate you.
That was still regulated much the same way that we have our energy regulated by ETs. There are places, there are rare elements that are hard to get in the cosmos. And so the Sirius colony was actually leasing generators of free energy generators, but for, they could have many small ones or one big one that would do the whole job. But the ships are based on power output. So the more power that a ship had from its free energy generator, I don't have a name for it, but the more it could output was how far it could go in one jump or how far forward and backward in time it could go.
Right.
So it's still the name of the game is still the same in space, but we're still on the exhaustible stuff of it right now, the tech.
But it exists,
I didn't want to go on a tangent.
We know about it, but I think it's kind of being hid from us, if you will.
Well, we're being controlled by
She's flirting so hard.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of us being controlled. So there's a billion people, and we're seeing it play out in real time.
Right now.
People volleying for control of us. And we see what big tech does. You see when it's not about what they show us, it's about what they don't let us say.
Right. All the censorships
right now,
happening.
That shows.
Mm-hmm.
I hope they get together. That was fun. That was really fun. I hope you guys enjoyed the clips, and the show's not going to end, by the way. What do we got left? Yeah, we'll hang out for a little bit. Like I said, I want this to be a regular thing where on Fridays the show is a bit more interactive. I think today has been a bit more interactive. At least it was my goal for it to be that way. And I've really enjoyed it. I hope you guys have too. It's normally, because obviously these stay up as a video for people to watch after, and I'm aware of that. And I love doing all my shows live. I would really like to do all my shows live. I think it's important to maybe do actual short videos still, just to help grow the channel. But eventually I would love to just do everything live. But I think it's important to keep like a good cadence, so people don't, oh my God, Suki's so cute. To keep a good cadence for people who do watch it back, because it's not as fun to like watch us talk if you're not there. But I do still want to reserve time for us to have these fun conversations, because honestly, this is the most fun for me. You know what? I've been wanting to do like a bit of a Q&A thing for a while, and I'm happy to do that now. If you guys want to ask some questions and we can get some topics going in the chat. Maggie, welcome to the Weirdos Club. Maggie M10, can we get some loves for Maggie? Enjoy all the new members content in the members section of the Discord. Welcome, you little freak. And so let's do some Q&A kind of stuff. There's actually a function here. There's a function here in the chat. You guys know how I do polls. There's a function called Start a Q&A, answer viewer questions live. I'm just going to click it and see what it says. Say something. I don't know. Maybe I won't use that. Maybe we can just kind of riff. We can just kind of riff off each other. When is Lifting the Lamp coming on? Well, me and Lifting the Lamp are not going to be doing it live. So we're going to be recording tomorrow morning, and I would say that show would probably be uploaded. Oh, I don't know. Maybe at the very latest Sunday night, potentially Saturday night. But I have to go do normie work tomorrow. I still do some normie work, by the way. I tutored at a university all of like this semester. I tutored at a university, and it's funny because like I would go and teach the students, and it was a lot of fun. It's my second time tutoring at a university. I would go and teach the students, and in the back of my head, I'm like, do you guys know I talk about reptilians on the internet? Here I am being all professional and shit. And I also do filming. So I film sports, ironically, the thing that I shit on all the time. I go and live stream like semi-professional sport for a company on Saturdays, which is really annoying, to be honest. I think I'm going to stop that soon because it just gets in the way, man. It gets in my flow, you know. I could be making videos about reptiles tomorrow, but no, I have to go film 20 men kick a bag of air around. That's kind of gay. No, I'm kidding. Sport's cool. I like sport. I do enjoy sport. You may be shocked to hear. I do enjoy sport. Of course I do. But it's the reason why I shit on it is because people who make it their whole personality, and like that it's like, you know, people who look up to athletes as like a higher human being. I think that's cooked. We're all humans. What sport? I used to work at Flinders University in SA. So I'm going to be filming tomorrow. I'm filming SANFL, which is like the professional Australian Football League, domestic to the state that I live in. What was the other question? Something about university. Sorry, I missed that. I used to work at Flinders. Okay, so I was teaching. Oh, should I say? Yeah, I mean, I'm not really there anymore. I was teaching at Uni SA, which is where I studied as well. So I kind of had connections through my old tutors and stuff like that. They actually contacted me. I taught a visual effects course first, and then I taught like a digital media course. They were both really fun. Sounds rough. Yeah, it is a little bit rough. Especially last week. Last week sucked. Yeah, you'll have to give the normie work the flick. We weirdos need you more. Yeah, I'm going to. I'm going to give it the flick soon. I'll kind of just finish up this last little bit, I think. Totally off base on your Trump assessment. You should probably check out better news sources. He's definitely on the list. And the pink juice suppresses abilities not deemed instrumental. Joseph, I don't really know what you're referring to by my Trump assessment. I don't really have an assessment. I never said he wasn't on the list or he was. I mean, you obviously think he is because you've said he definitely is, but ultimately you don't know that. Unless you were there with him when he was being filmed, which I hope you weren't. I don't think you were, but other than that, you don't know. You might have a strong feeling, and that's cool. But you don't know. So saying things like that so certainly, I don't know. I'm not about that. Josh, do you believe in the Lacerda files? With each passing day, I'm more and more inclined to say yes. That's what I'll say. Yeah. But like, even if I was to say yes, I would always reserve like 10% judgment to be like, show me a reptilian and then I'll believe it. You know, like, again, we can't say for certain, just like old mate can't say he knows Trump is on the Epstein list unless he was there with him, which he probably wasn't, just like I've never seen a reptilian, right? We don't know. We don't know. The sports stuff is very post-military industrial complex. What do you mean by that? Are you kind of referring to the idea that like sports is kind of like the perfect distraction? And it's like athletes and sports are intentionally funded so heavily because it's like the cornerstone of the distraction? Because that would make sense. Kind of weird that these guys get paid like 700 grand a year to toss a ball around a court. Seems like an awful lot of money when there's children missing and homeless people. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I'm curious how you could connect Gnosticism and reptilians. I think Matthew Brown is a good middle point. Yeah, I don't know. Good question. I don't know how you would connect them. Maybe we can ask Lifting the Lamp that. Lifting the Lamp, I don't think he's super into aliens as such. I think he kind of got into this topic because of the Matthew Brown post. Before that, I think he was pretty like indifferent to the whole thing. But I think he's been diving deeper now, which is interesting because you get like a different, fresh perspective. Buddhist cosmology talks about an ancient conflict between Nagas, reptilian beings, and what are called Garudas. The talk about an ancient and ongoing reptilian iron conflict reminded me of that. Yeah. Yep. And again, this is why, like, I think Nordics and reptilians are the most likely alien species, because there are reptile or serpent-like beings in literally every single creation story or like religious text. in, again, spoken differently. Nagas, the rainbow serpent, the Quetzalcoatl, the I don't know why I'm blanking, but there's more. There's the snake in the Garden of Eden. Like, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. So that to me is like, why is that? Why are there Egyptian hieroglyphics of a humanoid with a reptile head? Why are reptiles evil in all of these stories? Like, that to me is just like, yeah, it's not conclusive evidence, but it's the same kind of reason of like why I believe in the UFO phenomenon. Have I seen like a big silver craft slap me in the head? No, I haven't. But when there are thousands of people all telling us that they've seen something, and the only thing that they've really benefited from that is getting called a crackpot loser and being laughed at their whole life, but they keep saying it, that's enough for me to believe it. For sure. Have you listened to Alex Collier? Tony, Alex Collier has been on the list for a long time. Alex Collier is kind of like the new Phil Schneider that I'll talk about for 6 months about doing a video about, and then I'll actually do it in 6 months. No, I'll do it soon. Now that I've kind of got in the rhythm of this live format and people seem to enjoy it, I really enjoy it. I think we could do an Alex Collier video soon and pretty easily. Super interesting dude. Super, again, you know, so out there. So for people who don't know, and even I'm not super well versed on Alex Collier, but his whole story is that he is an Andromedan contactee, and he's been saying, basically relaying messages from his contact since the 90s. And he's been saying the same thing. In fact, Alex Collier is in the Polarity song. When you hear the voice say, like, everything in our galaxy, everything's a polarity. When you flip into the, like, when you flip from the dark, you go to the light. That's Alex Collier. And it's from an awesome, like, 2-hour speech that he gave. So we should 100% watch that because it's Polarity lore. We should watch the Terrence McKenna interview, and we should watch the Alex Collier one because it's literally embedded into Polarity lore. We 100% should. Suki was attacking a reptilian in the background. Yeah, she chases the reptilians. She's literally in the astral realm right now, fighting the galactic war. Look at her. Get it, girl. Get it. Hey, you know, Suki actually, she literally ripped a lizard in half in my backyard, like, not long ago. A blue-tongue lizard. Which is, like, not like her. And I'm not saying, I'm not trying to suggest anything here other than the fact that she's such a gentle dog. She really is so gentle. And yeah, there was a lizard literally ripped in half. Like, she just bit it in half and then just, like, left it there. And it was just, like, squirming. Kind of gnarly. Like, yeah, naughty Suki for sure. I mean, I didn't tell her off, obviously. But, like, yeah, I'm not about that. I think lizards are cute. I like blue-tongue lizards. So that was naughty of her. And I had to go and fix that mess, which wasn't nice. Jordan Maxwell could be on the list too. Definitely Michael. So obviously, you guys, the reptilian video I did the other day, where we kind of started with the Ross Coulthard clip, and then we looked at a few others. One of them was Jordan Maxwell. And yeah, super interesting story. There's probably a lot more there we could dig into, which I would love to. What about a video on a breakdown on the whole intro, Contra as a feature? Do you mean like looking a little bit deeper at all the clips that I use in the intro? That would be cool. That would be cool for sure. Because I really tried to craft that intro with like things that are not just like UFO lore, but like things that I really resonate with and things that I talk about in the channel a lot. You guys know I'm a massive Blink-182 fan. Tom DeLonge, he features in it twice. David Icke, I love David Icke. I even there's a little short clip from Stargate, and there's a short clip from The Abyss, kind of referring to the mobile construction unit when that big thing is coming out of the ocean. That's what that is. Every clip in there is like pretty precisely chosen. Yeah, I'm proud of that. It's not like the most flashy. It's pretty like basic, I think. Like, you know, I think other creators do way cooler visually things, like intros and stuff, but it's symbolic and it's cool. I like it. Our 3 foxes chase lizards, but we get snakes too, so we just have to tell them off just in case. Yeah, definitely. That's super dangerous. Blue tongue lizards eat snakes. Good to have around. Do they really? Interesting. Interesting. I didn't know that. Can we watch Skinny Bob? We will in another video for sure. I have 4 dogs, hopefully safe from the reptilians. I hope so too. Whoa, Suki. She just finished ripping up a galactic space Draco. And she's back in the 3D realm. I used to have a cockatoo, but I had to pick between the cockatoo and my wife. Oh, dude. I live next to a park. And cockatoos are like crazy. Those things scream like hell. Like a bat out of hell. I couldn't cope with that, dude. I'm way too autistic. I walk around with these things on a lot of the time and just with the noise cancelling playing. No songs. Just giving me silence. If I had a cockatoo in the house screaming, oh, brother. I couldn't do it. I don't even like going to the shops. Too many noises, dude. Oh, and you know what? Like when I used to play World of Warcraft, love that game so much, and RuneScape. Oh, don't all get addicted. When I was playing World of Warcraft, we would do 40-man raids. Okay, so 40 people would go through like a dungeon and kill giant bosses, which is just so awesome. It's so fun. And when you have 40 people all in Discord and you don't have cohesiveness and everyone's talking, it's the most triggering shit ever. It's the kind of shit that makes you want to take your headphones off and just throw them. I can't do it. Absolutely can't do it. But I love that game so much. Leroy Jenkins. Yes, absolutely. My brother used to raise cockatoos. Oh, not about that. I always wear my noise cancelling as well. Yeah. To be honest, I'm home. I used to live with my dad. He's not here for a while. Now that I'm home alone, I don't actually do it as much. I just listen to music out loud. But I used to before, just to have peace and quiet. Let's play RuneScape. I'm all about it. Brother, I got a max cape. I'm a proper nerd. Like, literally, I'm a nerd. It's like not a joke. I actually am. Do you see the Bigfoot pictures yesterday? No, I haven't seen anything like that. An episode on cow mutilations could be cool. Yeah, that stuff's intriguing. The episode that... Suki. Making weird noises. The episode that George Knapp did in Investigation Alien on cattle mutilations was really good, really comprehensive. And some crazy evidence, some crazy stuff of these cows being, what's the word? Like something like sanguination, where their blood is drained. Like that. And obviously the vital organs caught out surgically. And then the cow is found dead, obviously, but sitting up. You know how cows might sit down, but still be have their head up? This thing is sitting down with its head up, but it's got no lips. It's got no eyes. It's got no anus. It's wild. Josh, do you think the X-Files are soft disclosure? So, okay, this is what's wild for me, okay? And people always pay me out about it because I worked in visual effects, but I haven't seen shit, okay? I'm not really a movie guy. I'm not really a TV show guy. I like them, but I've never been someone who really watched a lot of them. So I haven't seen a lot of shit. And I started watching the X-Files for the first time with you guys in Discord. After the streams, we'd throw a few episodes on. And I'd still love to get through more. I want to get through more of Stargate too. It would take us years to get through all this shit. So for me, it's really interesting because I know a lot of you guys probably watched the X-Files, and so you saw that, And now you're seeing this all play out like the same stories. Well, for me, I was just interested in the UFO topic and was exploring it and hearing and learning about all these things. And now I go back and watch this TV show that came out in like the 90s, and it's saying all and showing all of the same shit that is in the modern disclosure sphere. That's really weird to me to come at it from that perspective, because it straight away made me think like, are we seeing the X-Files played out in 5D? Because when the X-Files came out, you know, like everyone was hooked to their TVs, the internet wasn't huge, we were like glued to it. That was like our Matrix, right? Now our Matrix is the internet. We plug into this digital world and we're consumed with all this information that's on X, and we're getting the same narratives placed in the same kind of vague, spooky way with all these CIA guys through podcasts. It's like we're literally rewatching the X-Files in 5D in real time on podcasts with people who we think are genuine, but it's actually just the X-Files in 5D, and we're never going to get answers. That was my immediate thoughts after watching like the first 4 episodes of the X-Files. I'm curious to see if anyone's had the same experience or thought pattern as me. Polarity WoW Guild, let's go. I've said, because we have a gaming channel in our Discord, and I've said in there many times, when Classic Plus drops, I will probably, well, I'm definitely going to play. So the channel may die at that point. No, to be honest, I'll probably stream it. I'll probably stream it on Twitch. And I may start a Polarity Guild, potentially. I couldn't think of anything cooler than leading a bunch of UFO nerds who have never played WoW before to kill Ragnaros and go through Molten Core together. 40 of us. That would be the most wild shit. And no, actually, let's be honest. If you'd never played before, that might be hard. I don't know if I've got the patience for that. You've got to have some kind of skill level. I can't be carrying everybody, okay? I can play. I'm good. I can't carry 39 of you. We're going to need some people to have some experience to help out. We can probably carry a couple. Okay, we got a Resto Druid. Okay, we're going to need some, I need some DPS. I need good melee DPS for sure. And bindings of the Windseeker are reserved for me, obviously. Oh, I lost where I was in the chat. Coolies, I'm in. I've never played. Yep, it'll be fun. We'll have a lot of fun. Yes for Polarity Gaming. Yeah, I've been saying it for a while now that I want to jump on Twitch and like play some RuneScape and stuff, because RuneScape is a really fun game to do this. Like, we could literally be doing this and I could be playing RuneScape, and that would be a lot of fun for me. Hopefully fun for you guys as well. But RuneScape's a game that you can play in chat very easily. So I've thought about that. That would be a lot of fun. Maybe we can do that soon. But I think I haven't played WoW since like 2018, but I'll play again for a Polarity Guild. Hell yeah. And oh, okay. And if we do this, everyone has to make names that are a play on disclosure. For example, if you play a mage, you can spec into being a frost mage. A good name for that would be Frost Coulter. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I think that's how you are going to qualify for a raid spot, is how good and creative your disclosure name is. And like, it has to be disclosure and also tied into World of Warcraft. Like Frost Coulter. I'm going to reserve that. You're going to have to come up with your own. I'm trying to add you on RuneScape. My RuneScape name is Big Winks, with a space between. BIG space WINX. On World of Warcraft, you wouldn't be able to look me up, but my gaming name was Winks. I used to always go by Winks, WINX. But I would probably use Polarity now. I tried to get Polarity on RuneScape, but it's taken. But tonight's been a lot of fun. I really like the Hangout shows. I want to do more of it, and that is what we're going to do. thank you guys for being here. It's been a long one today, and I loved it. I had a great time. I hope you guys did too. Hope you learned something. And tomorrow, there may be an upload, but if you got a gifted a membership, go and watch the new members only video because it's interesting and you get a sneak peek at the merch. So enjoy that. Be good, be kind. Remember, the SR-71 was built in the 1950s. Come hang out in Discord. I'll see you there.
Eventually people are going to say, what the hell is going on?
No matter how far you go into the dark, when you flip, you go exactly the same place to the light in our galaxy. Everything. Because everything is in balance. Everything is a polarity.
I think it's just going to get weirder and weirder and weirder, and finally it's going to be so weird that people are going to have to talk about how weird it is.